Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, August 12th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, to start us off, we'll take our lead from the Abbot Orsini, who says they celebrate Notre Dame de Rouen in Normandy, France. It's noted this was erected by Robert, the Duke of Normandy. Richard I, King of England, gave great gifts to this church, and the kings of France have granted it great privileges. We're also told that they celebrate La Conquistadora, which is a Marian statue, and now it is officially the oldest Madonna in the United States, miraculously rescued from Indian attack and arson of a church in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 1680, right? And there's a lot of history there. There's also a whole bunch of other feasts today that we celebrate. First, in Madonna di Roccia Melone in Susa in Turin. This is the highest shrine in the world at 3,538 meters high above sea level. The statue itself was raised with the offerings of around 130,000 children in Italy, and it was solemnly inaugurated on September 28, 1899 by Blessed Eduardo Rossa, the Bishop of Susa, right? This is a very beautiful image, and so there used to be a little shrine up there, a rock shrine, and at a certain point, it just couldn't be used anymore. So they decided to make a wooden shrine, right? And so that wooden shrine didn't last very long because it's high up and it's cold. So in 1895, a priest, Father Tonda, decided to make a new one, which would be blessed in August of the following year. Unfortunately, in 1913, a fire destroyed the chapel, and the Bishop of Susa, Giuseppe Castelli, and Father Tonda decided to reconstruct the chapel, but to make it even like a sort of refuge, right, where priests could have stayed in order to assist pilgrims during the time when there were more pilgrims, and they would come from the 1st to the 15th of August. So they wanted to add even a little house for the priest. So Popes Pius X, Benedict XV, and Pius XI supported this work themselves with offerings, but unfortunately, because of the outbreak of the First World War, they could only really start working on August 15th, 1920, when the bishop blessed the cornerstone. The chapel and its refuge for the priest, the little shelter, was inaugurated and blessed by the Bishop Umberto Rossi, you guessed it, today, on August 12th, 1923. Again, the world's highest sanctuary. Likewise, today they celebrate La Virgen del Cisne in El Cisne, Loja, in Ecuador. So not long after they founded the city of Loja, Ecuador, in 1548, the Spanish colonized a mountain area about 45 miles away, calling it El Cisne, which means the swan. In 1594, a drought and a plague of rats destroyed crops in the region. So threatened with famine, in addition to pressure from the Spanish, the local Indians decided to immigrate. They wanted to get lost and just go somewhere else, when an apparition of the Blessed Virgin changed their minds. A young native woman herding sheep met a most lovely lady crowned with fragrant roses, who stayed with her, conversing about God while the flock grazed. "Confide in me, because I'm going to help you and protect you so you will never be hungry again. Here I want to assist you," the woman said. "Build a shrine in this place where I will always be with you." So the people built the church, and rains fell. October 12th, 1594 is sometimes given as the apparition date, sometimes as the end of the drought. It's not entirely clear when was what. But the natives of El Cisne commissioned a statue, right, which was made by Diego de Robles of Quito, who was already known for the image he made of Our Lady of Quinche. Carved of oak, the statue of La Virgen del Cisne stands 26 inches tall, holding the child in her left hand and a scepter in her right. The statue was canonically crowned on September 8th, 1930. The new shrine, begun in 1934, was consecrated on August 12th, 1979, attended by a crowd of regional clergy and officials, right? Annually in mid-August, thousands of pilgrims accompany the statue on a 3-day journey to the cathedral in Loja, where the statue remains until it returns to the Basilica of El Cisne on November 1st. Also today, they celebrate the Menorah del Ponte Metauro in Fano, Pesaro, and Urbino in La Marche, Italy. This is because it was crowned by Pope St. John Paul II and proclaimed patroness of the Marines in 1984. Likewise, the Church of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Puchon, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia was consecrated today in 2006, right? And then we also have another wonderful celebration today, which is Our Lady of the Little Forest, Nostra Senora del Boschetto, in Camogli in Genova. So Our Lady appeared to Angela Schiaffino on July 2nd, 1518, while today they recall the solemn coronation, which came at the request of Pope Pius VII, right? So again, in 1518, this was a very sort of abandoned region. It was actually forest, is what boschetto means, like a little forest. And so she was probably 12 years old, a little shepherd girl by the name of Angela Schiaffino. On July 2nd, went, like she stopped for a minute, to pray to Our Lady, who was painted in a little, like on the wall, right? And she said she was in this prayer when all of a sudden a beautiful woman, came to her and said she wanted her to be the interprete di una sua aspirazione, to be the one who brought forth or made public her desire, right? The woman said that she wanted to tell the people that that they should build a church in that place, right? And then the little girl's she's like, nobody's going to believe me. And so then the Blessed Virgin made a sign on the palm of her hand, an M, right? Which, and she did the same thing on a huge rock that was found nearby, indicating in that place, the place where the shrine should be constructed, right? And so again, they were very, very happy, and she went and told the people, and yes, they decided to, along with all the different miracles that accompanied it, they said, yes, we're going to get started, and so they did, right? And so that was the beautiful story there, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of different stories. It's not entirely sure which ones are which, but there's a whole bunch of miracles that are just recounted at this shrine. Many different things. And then, like we said, the popes have been very supportive. In particular, it was Pope Pius VII on August 12th, 1817, who allowed the solemn coronation of the image, right? And this actually took place on August 30th, 1818, on the occasion of the third centenary of the apparition, right? And in fact, Pope Gregory XVI, on May 22nd, 1841, gave an office and a proper mass for Our Lady of the Boschetto, of the Little Forest. So that's what we're celebrating today in the Marian world on August 12th. For today's Marian meditation, taken from the book by Father Ildefonso Villar, we continue with Meditation 64, entitled Mary in the Passion. And today we'll read the second point, the crowning with thorns. Jesus tries to rest and recover his strength, but there is no time for rest. He has still much more to undergo. Only demons from hell could have suggested to those soldiers the mockery of the crowning with thorns. Hear the laughter and clapping of hands with which the diabolical idea is received, and see how they hasten to put it into practice. Someone brings out a dirty piece of purple rag. Another makes a scepter from a short cane. Others weave a crown. And then again they strip Jesus. They seat him on a stone, the purple rag around his shoulders, the cane in his hands. The moment of the crowning arrives. Amongst jokes and infernal mockery, with grand ceremonial they place the crown on his head tightly and hammer it into the position with sticks onto his sacred head. What suffering must that cause? Jesus closes his eyes, and tears mixed with blood flow in abundance down the face. Now see the sacrilegious comedy they are going to stage. He has been crowned king. They must then render him obeisance. They come forward, bend their knees before Jesus, and some of them give him a slap. Some spit upon him. Others pull his mantle and whisper some offensive pleasantry. Finally, some take the king from his hand and strike his head with it. Did Our Lady witness this scene? Did she know what they were doing with Jesus? Could she have the heart to bear it all? Great miracle it was indeed that she did not die of sorrow. Certainly did she at least witness the scene of the Ecce Homo. Present yourself there with Our Lady. Look at her face. How must she feel? What is going to happen in the square when Jesus appears? Hear the mob demanding his death. Speak with Our Lady. What have you to tell her?
Hello, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to our Marian podcast. In the spirit of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, we say to you that there is no greater delight than to spread the devotion of Our Lady. We hope you share these sentiments and encourage you greatly to share with a loved one. Know that you are always in our prayers, and we ask that you keep us in yours. God bless.